Hey folks, how you doing? Ken here. Just thought I'd do a quick update. I did one last week or the week before, and I never got round to posting it, so I'll do another one. So weather-wise, it's been pretty good actually. We had a nice spell a couple of weeks ago, and then 2 weeks of fairly meh weather. And to be honest, even at night, it was getting down into single figures, so quite cool. But it's picked up again, which is really good. So the pond is currently at around 21 and a half or so. And that's, again, I really added very little heat to that with the heater. I think it came on last night for an hour or so. Um, I've also got my food sorted out. That should hopefully do me for most of the season. I'd say maybe I'm being overly optimistic. That is all Nutrimare. So they're 4.5 mil pellets. I think one of them I still have a bit of wheat germ mixed into it. No, other than that in here, I'm just thinking it's nothing else. There kind of isn't. Gave the pond the filter its usual clean, which is fine. Just go out to the pond. So there's two things. First of all, water clarity's been terrible the last week or a week and a half. And I did have a problem with my UV. I took it out to check. One of the problems I find with this unit here is the only way to know if the UV is working is to actually take it out. I know some of them have a little glass bubble on it, or in others, the actual screw down holder is clear plastic and you can see. So obviously when the water wasn't great, I suspected the UV. So I unscrewed it and it was working, but as I unscrewed it, the bulb fell out. It slipped down out of the holder down into the quartz glass. And then as I tried to get the quartz glass out, it was completely lodged in the holder. And I maneuvered and maneuvered, and you'll guess it cracked and broke. So a bugger to that. Very easy to do. What I realized was I got a new rubber. I don't have it around here. I did at one stage. Goes around the quartz. They're not a great design. There's a rubber goes around the quartz and that sort of sits into the holder and seals it. Doesn't really do a great job. I find some moisture still gets through, although I believe you get moisture anyway with the difference in temperature within the quartz and the water. But anyway, I did have a spare one. It's not great. It had broke before, but I did manage to pare it down with a Dremel to get it reasonably flat. It is possible to do with the right tool. And I put it back in, but yeah, it's okay. But what I want to do is, when I bought the filter and the UV, I bought an 80 watt UV. Now mine is a 20,000 litre pond when everything is working, the back piece as well, which 40 should be plenty. But you'll see with my pond when we go out here, and I'm trying not to trip over a dog on the way, it is very much in direct sunlight. So I did put a bit of blanket answer in. I noticed there's a lot of little bits of algae suspended in the water, and once it's not going through the UV, it's not going to do anything with it. So what I did was I did my usual clean. It drains the pond down, and I didn't have a huge amount of blanket answer. I'd say about a quarter of a dose, but I put that in. To be honest, I never get blanket weed in the old pond, which is a much smaller 2,500 litres. I'd get the sheets of blanket weed every now and again in that, and I treat it and whatever. With this, the bottom piece, I don't get that. What I do is I get the little sort of filaments on the side, and it tends to break off. I don't know what it is, but it then obviously clouds the water. which isn't great. So I did a blanket answer, a half treatment there. It's probably going back to the end of April, so it was definitely overdue one again. So I'd see does that help. But you can see here with the house, the sun comes over the house in the morning. Now it is Ireland, and the pond, it's no shelter at all. It is in the sunlight, or daylight this time of year for, you know, all the time. I don't have a pergola, obviously. The only time the house will give it any shadow is very early morning this time of year. So that's why I'm saying I'm going to go back to the 80 watt UV and see. So I've decided with that UV, it's 5 years old now, approaching 6 years old. A new quartz and a new bulb is about €180, and it's not worth putting that amount of money into a 5-year-old ballast. So for around $350, I can get a full new unit. So that's what I'm going to do. And that one still works, so I can keep it as a spare. And I'll let you know if that helps with the water clarity. I do have a sick fish as well, one of my goldfish, and you won't see it. It just was sitting on the bottom at one of the bottom drains and hadn't come up to eat. Now, I've only 2 goldfish left in that pond. I had 11 when I built the pond, but I got some sort of bacterial issue 2 years ago. And there's the dog digging the garden. Look at him. He's heartbroken. I don't know how many times I've sown that, but anyway. So the goldfish, anyway, are 15 to 20 years old. I'm not sure exactly. Some of them were 15, others were 20. This guy seemed to be swim bladder. He wasn't coming up to feed. So I mentioned before that I have a problem with a shiro who spent the whole winter sitting on the bottom. But when I did start feeding, he was coming up to feed, and he is still doing that. Although swimming awkwardly, there's definitely a problem there, but I've done scrapes. So anyway, I decided with this goldfish, I took him out there during the week and I gave him a Epsom salt bath to see could I clear his system out. And unfortunately, it just made him worse. When I put him back in, he's just lying on his side. Now, he is still alive and is moving. When I put the net in, I thought I was netting out a dead fish yesterday, and as soon as I got near him, he's well able to move away. So I've just kind of left him, but I don't know what to do. I know from keeping fish for over 20 years, whether they be tropicals or pond fish, there's never a good outcome out of that sort of thing, unfortunately. It could be the fish's age, I don't know, but it might need antibiotics, but I don't have anywhere else to put it to sort of heat it up and treat it. And what do you treat it with? I don't know. I did scrape it and there's nothing there. The other thing is the lilies, they're all doing very well. I've lots of flower buds. I haven't turned on the waterfall. The one thing I notice is that, is a dead leaf I missed yesterday? There, is it? No, there. When the waterfall isn't running, I don't get blanket weed here. Once the waterfall is running, for some reason I get a lot of blanket weed. Now, probably because it's only a couple of thousand litres and the lilies are out competing any algae, but they're doing well. Let's see if I'll turn on. I probably will turn on the waterfall at some stage, but they're doing fine, and there's no algae there or anything. So I'll just leave them. I did a quick vac of it and took out a lot of the dead leaves and the flowers, and they're looking well. As I said before, all I did was I didn't replant them or anything this year. I just had tablets, fertilizer tablets, and I stuck 3 of them in the big pot. There's 2 big pots and there's one smaller one, and 2 of them in the smaller pot just around the roots. And I was told from a guy I bought them off locally a few years back, if you do that every year, they'll always start, because people say, oh, I put them in and they do great for the first year, and then they do nothing. But you do need to fertilize them, I find, and I've had them, definitely come back a fair bit. They're not getting any fish waste there. as you can see, but I will probably turn on the waterfall. But that's it. Besides my sick goldfish, which it's a pity because he was one of the really nice one. But yeah, what can you do? You know, I was looking to scrape and see if I found something. I'd treat the whole pond, obviously, but I did have chillo. Um, Fish were flashing a bit there about, oh, it's a month ago now at this stage, and I scraped and could find nothing, the usual, and I then got my large shower out, and he's a lot easier to scrape, so I took a few scrapes off him and I found one Chiladenella. So I just treated with PP, did about 5 hours of a PP treatment, and that seemed to do it. I scraped the goldfish, as I say, when I had them out. Did 3 good scrapes off, and there's absolutely nothing there. Unfortunately, that I could treat. But that's it. Otherwise, the fish are all looking good. This is one of the new additions again, Rain Showa, and I got a couple of Shiros. There's one here, and there's another smaller one, just on the basis that my Shiro, which was probably one of the nicest fish in the pond, he mightn't make it for some reason. You know, it wouldn't surprise me when they sort of go to that moping and swimming awkwardly that it's some sort of internal tumor or something like that. He's coming up there now. You can see him, he looks fine, you know, there's no ulceration or anything like that, but you just feel there's some internal issue particular to that fish. You can see him swimming there now. He tends to move more with his head than his tail. For some reason he does move around and he's fine, but he's not right at the same time. There's no swelling that's particularly noticeable either when I look at him from above. Just a strange one. If anyone has any tips or hints, if anyone has any tips for that goldfish, as I say, I did try the salts and it didn't seem to help him, unfortunately, but given his age, it could be just the way it is, unfortunately, you know. Now, goldfish can live up to 30, but maybe just genetically he's not going to do that. So that's it. If you have any comments or advice, let me know, or anything you'd want me to dig a bit deeper into, let me know. Otherwise, I will leave it at that, and I will definitely post this video. Cheers.